Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? Now I don't know if these are new or not, but I've never seen them. So I need for you, the people, to let me know if you've ever seen or tried Stouffer's frozen chili cornbread bake or Stouffer's frozen chicken and biscuit bake. Like I said in the beginning, I've never seen or tried either. But I have made something very similar to the chili and cornbread bake, which was my version of baked beans with cornbread on top. My version of baked beans is called wolf beans. I'll leave a link to the recipe in the description box if you want to give them a try. And I've also made something very similar to Stouffer's chicken and biscuit bake, which is simply called a pot pie. I guess this is Stouffer's way of making a family-sized pot pie by using a biscuit topping. If you want to try my pot pie, I'll leave a link to the recipe in the description of this video. So let's go over the 30-ounce Stouffer's frozen chili cornbread bake that consists of beef chili with beans, tomatoes, green peppers, and onions, topped with a cornbread crust that costs $10.86. Here's the list of ingredients, and I'm happy to see that it contains the always delicious and always nutritious bioengineered ingredients. Just what our body needs, lab-grown foods. But I really am genuinely happy to see that there's no TVP or textured vegetable protein in this. There's about 4 1-cup servings per container. Each serving has 380 calories, 16 grams of total fat, 8 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 80 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,020 milligrams of sodium, 40 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fiber, 7 grams of sugars, and 18 grams of protein. Jeez, 1,020 milligrams in 1 cup of food? That's a lot of sodium. Now here's our Stouffer's chili cornbread bake right out of the freezer and right out of the box. And now it goes into a preheated 375 degree oven to cook according to the instructions on the box. Now here's our Stouffer's chili cornbread bake after baking in a 375 degree oven for a total of 55 minutes. And it looks and smells pretty good. So we used our handy dandy spoon that somehow ended up in my pocket after we left the Korean barbecue restaurant. Those daggone sneaky spoons always ended up in places they're not supposed to be. I'm just kidding. I'm not a thief. Or at least I don't try to be. Yeah, klepto! No, seriously, I bought a set of these on Amazon. I love these long-handled spoons. They make it easier, with the lack of my hand dexterity, to eat. If I wanted to make a real viral video, all I'd have to do is video myself eating. It would be like watching a combination of a 3-year-old and Mr. Bean eating. So we got a spoonful of the corner of the chili cornbread bake, which is usually the best part of dishes like this, because they're nice and crispy and a little bit overdone, which usually makes it extra tasty. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And as soon as I saw the chili, I was thinking, this looks a lot like canned chili. And then after it went into my pie hole, I confirmed it tasted exactly like canned chili. And not really a very good canned chili, but also not a very bad canned chili, like a mediocre canned chili. Some canned chilies have a copper or metallic flavor to them, which this also had. Almost like a blood flavor, like when you bite your tongue or your lip and you bleed in your mouth. Not very pleasant. So next we scooped up a piece of the cornbread to try on its own. And other than it looking a little bit too brown and overcooked, it looks okay. And I'm not even sure how this is possible, but that cornbread was some of the driest cornbread I've ever had. Not to mention flavorless. Cornbread should have a little bit of buttery, sweet flavor to it. But this was pretty much like straight up cardboard. So next we tried the chili by itself with no cornbread. And it looks like some cornbread's in there anyway. But we're doing the best we can for you, the people, so you don't have to. And the spoonful of chili doesn't look too bad, but it still doesn't have the right color for chili for me. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And again, the chili tastes simply like canned chili, like a Hormel or an Armour chili. Not very good, but it does have real meat and only real meat in it, without any TVP, which I do appreciate. So next we went in and cut up and broke up some of the cornbread and mixed it in with the chili. And that doesn't look too bad. I'm not really sure what it looks like, but it doesn't look too bad. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And that bite was actually a little bit better. It toned down the coppery metallic flavor in the chili. But they say there's Monterey Jack cheese in this chili, but I don't really taste any. And the bite of everything with the cornbread and the chili was good enough to constitute one final bite of everything. This Stouffer's frozen chili cornbread bake isn't going to win any awards, but it will fill your belly. But at a cost of almost $11 is a high price to pay for mediocre food. Obviously, you can make this for next to nothing with some leftover chili, but if you don't have any leftover chili, for a measly $5.46, you can buy 2 cans of Wolf brand chili with beans and 2 boxes of Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix and make your own. And don't peddle that nonsense. The real chili doesn't have beans. The chili you like can have whatever the hell you want to have in it. So in my opinion, the Stouffer's frozen chili cornbread bake lacks the quality and flavor and costs too much. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Next, let's try the Stouffer's frozen chicken and biscuit bake, which consists of white meat chicken with carrots and peas and a savory gravy topped with a buttery biscuit crust. Here's the list of ingredients. And of course, the chicken and biscuit bake is a 4-meat slurry concoction. If they can just have plain ground beef and the cornbread and chili bake, why can't they just have plain chicken and the biscuit and chicken bake? Inquiring minds want to know. Again, there's about 4 1-cup servings per container. Each serving has 330 calories, 17 grams of total fat, 6 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 50 milligrams of cholesterol, 810 milligrams of sodium, 29 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, 6 grams of sugars, and 15 grams of protein. Although still very high at 810 milligrams of sodium per 1-cup serving, it's a little bit better than the 1020 milligrams of sodium in the chili cornbread bake. Now here's our chicken and biscuit bake, right out of the freezer and right out of the box. Now our chicken and biscuit bake goes into a preheated 375 degree oven for 65 minutes. Now here's our Stouffer's chicken and biscuit bake after baking in the 375 degree oven for 65 minutes and resting for 5 minutes. And now with the spoon we bought from Amazon, we went in and cut out and scooped up a nice golden brown, hopefully crispy piece of biscuit. And then into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And I'm sorry to say that the biscuit topping tasted absolutely nothing like biscuit. However, the top part of it was somewhat flaky, but the bottom part was somewhat soggy. But overall, it had a nice buttery flavor to it. So next we scooped back some of the biscuit topping and got a big old spoonful of the filling. And it doesn't look too bad. It looks creamy and the vegetables don't look mushy. But why in the heck would they use shredded carrots in a pot pie filling? They're going to lose all their texture and they really don't provide any flavor. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Well, the peas were tasty. Unfortunately, that's about all I could taste. The gravy wasn't really creamy. I didn't get any flavor and I didn't get any chicken. Why can't these processed food manufacturers learn how to add salt, pepper, and sage or poultry seasoning to their chicken dishes? Things like pot pie, chicken noodle soup, and chicken and dumplings need sage and salt and pepper. How do you have 830 milligrams of sodium in a dish and it still be bland? And where's the pepper? It's simple seasoning basics. I think the people in their Q&A department grew up on processed foods and have never had a good home-cooked meal. So we took a couple more bites of the biscuit topping and the filling mixed together, and everything mixed together somewhat tasted a little bit better, but still lacked flavor. This is one of those meals that one of my friends always says, it'll make a turd, but it doesn't taste very good. And $11 to pay for a tasteless meal that'll only make a turd but not satisfy your stomach is entirely too much money when, for $6, you could buy 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast at $1.99 a pound, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup at $1.66, 8 ounces of frozen mixed vegetables at $1.20, and an 8-pack of jumbo biscuits for $2.29. You can make your own chicken and biscuit bake at home, much better and healthier than the Stouffer's frozen chicken and biscuit bake, which is why I'm giving the Stouffer's frozen chicken and biscuit bake a 4 out of 10. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe and share it with your family and friends, and I'll see you soon.